joke, Shauna. Look, I don't want to spend any more time on this. Figure it out.
Listen, Hugh, I'm really sorry.
Yeah? Well, sorry doesn't get my orders processed, now does it?
Look, can you just go back to sending them to us by email until we get this new system figured out?
That's pretty much all we can do, isn't it?
I know. I'm really sorry. Let me get right on... Hugh?
I know. Yeah, we're taking down the new system right now. Yeah. No, we'll have to go back to using email for the time being. I know, I understand. I know. I'm on it.
Chris, I just got an earful from Hewitt Scott Bradbury. They're trying to use a new system and it's not working at all.
I know, we're shutting it down right now. We're going back to using email for customer orders.
Shutting it down? I've just spent weeks getting ready to launch it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that, but I've got a crisis on my hands at the moment. Hack, hold on. Shauna, can we talk later? Hack, what's the story with the shutdown? Are we offline yet?
So we finally switched over about 4 this afternoon. Anyway, we're back on the old system for the time being.
Okay, we can call everyone tomorrow morning and get them back on email.
At least it's too late for anything else to go wrong today.
Chris, what did go wrong?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I thought Hack was on top of it.
So the idea is to have the customers input their orders directly, and then we don't have to key them in again.
Makes sense.
I told Peter we could get that up and running in 3 months. Is that possible?
It's tight. I'm not sure.
Okay, tell me what's involved.
A lot of coding. Do you want me to work in .NET and SQL Server again?
Is that the best way of doing it?
Probably.
Okay, do that then. How long do you need?
Well, what do you want the new interface to look like?
You're the IT guy. I think you should decide that.
Okay. What do you want it to do exactly?
Well, I just want our customers to be able to input their orders directly into our system, rather than having to send them through in an email, which we have to type in ourselves.
I suppose I could do that pretty easily.
Good. How long do you need?
It's not very tough. A couple of weeks, maybe.
A couple of weeks. Beautiful. Well, then let's get to work.
I didn't realize he was just going to make our internal system available to our customers. It takes 2 weeks for our own people to learn that. Of course our customers couldn't use it. I thought he was going to make something suitable for them.
Did you ask Hack's opinion at all?
Of course I did. In fact, that's all I did.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the way you did it. Look, you don't mind me asking about this.
What? You think I screwed this up?
Well, I'm just wondering if you got Hack involved enough. So he was more involved.
Oh, that's helpful. I'll have to remember that next time.
No, what I mean is, maybe you should start asking more coaching questions.
Coaching questions?
Yes, questions that help people to think.
Shauna, they're supposed to be thinking already. It's what they get paid for.
But you can ask questions that help them to think. Let me think of an example of the sort of thing I mean.
If you can label all the DVDs and alphabetize them, that'd be great.
Shauna?
And perhaps...
What do you want me to do about the sales meeting?
Will you excuse me? The sales meeting, what about it?
Where do you want me to book it, and what facilities do you need?
How many attendees do we have coming?
We have the Western sales team, so about 25. You, me, and then the group from operations.
So about 35 total. Is there a room here we can use?
I already checked. Theater's in use and nowhere else is big enough.
Okay. Call the Bluffs and see if they can fit us in. Now, what about equipment?
So, I don't see the difference between that and the way that I do it.
Yes, but the questions I asked were all questions that kept me in control and didn't get Angela thinking for herself. I wasn't trying to engage her own mind, getting her to think.
So how do you do that?
Imagine if I did it a different way. Something like this.
We alphabetize them?
What do you want me to do about the sales meeting?
Will you excuse me? The sales meeting, what about it?
Where do you want me to book it, and what kind of setup do we need?
What are your thoughts on where you think we should hold it?
Our theater's not available and nowhere else is big enough. We'll have to go outside.
Where do you think we should go?
I could see if the Bluffs has got their room again.
Is that what you want to do?
Well, to be honest, I'd like to try somewhere else. The Bluffs is sort of stuffy. It's not really good for our kind of meeting.
What other possibilities are there?
Actually, Logan just opened a new place on Division Street. They're advertising meeting space. I could try them.
Any others?
Yeah, there's that new banquet center near the stadium, too.
So lots of choices. What do you want to do?
I'd like to look for some alternatives. I think people are tired of the Bluffs, and a new place would be a nice change.
Makes sense. Okay, so how are you going to choose between the different options?
What I'm going to do first...
I try to involve Hack and the others, I really do. They just don't respond the way I would like.
How do they respond?
I usually end up making the decision for them, and that doesn't always work, as we've seen. So how do I get them involved?
You need to look for opportunities that help them think things through for themselves. Don't solve the problems for them. Say to yourself, how can I help this person think this through for themselves?
And how can I?
You can ask them to clarify the problem. That usually gets people thinking. So, what's up? What did you want to talk to me about?
This Z-Trav campaign is driving me crazy.
That's the new travel mail campaign, the one we're designing and distributing?
Yep, that's right. I wish I'd never started it.
Well, how far have you gotten with it?
Nowhere, really. That's why I'm talking to you.
Remind me again what you're trying to do?
Well, when we went to see them, we pitched this great idea of a localized front cover. The concept was that each household would get a picture of their own city in the rain with the slogan, "Had enough yet?" And inside would be all these amazing pictures of the various destinations Z-Trav goes to. Cancun, Cabo, Maui.
Great idea. I still love it. So, what's the problem?
Well, first off, I have to find the right pictures. Then I have to find someone who can print the brochure and merge the pictures in. I have to find a way of identifying the towns where their customers live. I have to find a way of collating the whole thing so the right letter goes with the right brochure. And I have to find out the best way of distributing the brochure.
The temptation for me was to start making suggestions, but I really wanted Wayne to think this through for himself. And I wanted to help, but not take the responsibility away from him.
Poor Wayne. I know the feeling. He sounds totally overwhelmed by this.
The first thing I had to do was help him see the forest for the trees, so he gained a clear picture of the problem. Okay, let's see if I understand this. You've got to find pictures of every city where these customers live in the rain.
Yep.
You've got to come up with a system to link each picture with each address.
Yep.
You've got to find a printer who will personalize the brochures by putting the right picture on the cover to go with each address.
That's right.
You've got to find a way of collating the whole thing so that each brochure goes with the correct letter.
You're trying to tell him what he already knows? Sort of like a management consultant.
That's the only way that you can be sure that you're both on the same page, Chris. You need to ask questions that clarify the problem and then summarize it all back so that you're sure you've got it.
I suppose that helps him think it through, too, having you summarize it like that?
It does.
So what else can you do?
You can ask questions that help the person simplify the problem. Break it down. Where do you want to start?
I'm not sure.
Well, what's the most difficult part?
Identifying the cities and then finding the pictures.
Which one?
Well, both.
Choose one to start with.
Finding the pictures.
All right, we'll go with that. What are your thoughts?
That's good. Now you've got something you can get your teeth into.
Well, not my teeth, Chris. The whole idea is to help Wayne sink his teeth into it. All the time, I'm trying to ask questions that help him to think.
So what do you ask now?
I ask broadening questions. Questions that get him thinking about a variety of possibilities. What are your thoughts?
I was thinking of paying a photographer to travel around the country taking pictures in bad weather, but that would cost way too much.
Well, let's not worry about the problems at this stage. What options do you have?
I suppose there might be stock pictures available, ones that we could buy on CD or download, but they might be out of date and we'll still have to pay for them.
Okay, well, let's put the problems aside for the moment. Now, that's two ideas. Hire a photographer and buy stock photos. What else?
They're the obvious ones.
Well, what about the non-obvious? Who else has pictures of towns all across the country?
Google Earth, but they're all from space. Oops, problems again.
Who else?
CNN, I suppose, or other news agencies. Or what about local papers? They must have lots of pictures of their cities. That could be it.
Okay, that sounds good. What else?
I can't think of anything else.
Now, did you know that all along? The local papers, I mean.
No, I hadn't thought of them. And that's the difference between asking questions that help people to think and thinking for them. I had some ideas of my own, but Wayne came up with a better one that I wouldn't have thought of.
So what happens if you have a good idea yourself? Are you not supposed to let on?
Oh, you can put your own ideas in by all means, but let them make most of the suggestions. Don't do all the thinking for them.